Gratitude Power Hour with Shelby
You know those people that just show up and just raw dog life?
Makes me want a hot dog real bad.
and Jason.
Bro, I'm raw dogging life.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
A sobriety and mental health podcast that dives into the realm of overcoming substance abuse through the power of willingness, humility, and gratitude. Together, we can thrive and also have a little fun while we're at it. Now, here are your hosts, Shelby and Jason.
Welcome to Gratitude Power Hour. We're laughing because I was playing sound effects before we started recording, and they're ridiculous. And if you're really lucky, when we're not talking about something serious, we're going to play those. And please don't leave.
Please.
All right. We are glad that you are back. And if you are new, we are glad that you are here. We've got some stuff to talk about today that for those who listen often, you know that we kind of are going through our recovery journeys, and we're talking about stuff that's kind of going on with us real time between episodes. And as you know, Shelby is moving to Colorado, and yeah, I'm not making that noise.
He's not excited for me.
I am not. Oh, well, that's not true.
You have the DVT of emotions
It
right
is
now.
not true because, you know, two things can exist at the same time.
DVT, baby.
Yeah, I can be excited for you.
Yes.
I'm not excited for me.
It's fair.
Right.
I understand.
Okay. Yes. So
Everyone's just busting
yeah.
my balls.
Yeah. Don't
From
put.
you, from work, everyone's like, you can't leave.
Yeah. Don't
like-
put that. Yeah. Don't put that label on me that I'm not excited for you, because in my mind, the way that this all came about for you is it's been something that you've wanted to do for a long time, and you didn't pull the trigger on it until you got your shit together.
Yeah.
So it is a reward.
It's a celebratory thing.
Right. So, you know, you earned it.
I did. I worked my ass off, so we're
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
I
Recovery is taxing.
yes. To say the least.
It's a lot, you know, worth it, but you know what? Exhausting isn't even the right word. Like, I use taxing because, like, when you're exhausted, maybe you kind of power through things. I don't feel that I'm powering through recovery, but I do feel like at times my body and mind are like, wow, maybe dial it down a little bit, you know? Like, it's like really full throttle kind of stuff, because you're all of a sudden able to function at a level that you haven't for so long. You almost take on too much.
Yeah, and it's a different, like, from using a substance, like, you're exhausted in a different way, but you're exhausted from, like, using your brain at max capacity.
Right.
And that's just, like,
Right.
completely different.
Which, for me especially, like, it leads to more physical exertion just
Yeah.
because, like,
You have more energy.
yeah, but I'm also, you know, it's kind of like when you're thinking faster than your body can react.
Mm-hmm.
Not something that's common when you're like drunk all the time, but I find that a lot where I'm almost ahead. Like, in my head, I'm like ahead, you know, that's that's dumb, just the way that sounds. But like, I'm processing quickly, and I find myself like outthinking my physical ability. So I'll
Your
literally,
body's got to catch
yeah,
up.
like I'm flying into a room like, wait, what? You know, like not the typical old man moment. Like,
Yeah.
why did I come in here? No, it's more like I'm attempting to do so many things at once.
Yeah.
That I confuse myself.
Yes. Yes. It's like, wait, which task is this for?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Rewind.
Wait. Hopefully, just so I don't feel like an idiot by myself, I can do 3 activities in this room. Like, I can eat, I can wash dishes, and whatever, feed the dog. Something.
There you go.
Okay. So one thing that Shelby and I have talked about a lot on the show is how integral our support team is from a clinical standpoint. Obviously, family support, friend support, stuff like that is outstanding, but you know, it really does take, you know, you've got to jive with your care team.
Yeah.
You know, not just from a communication standpoint, but there's a rhythm, there's a trust, there almost becomes like a shorthand
Mhm.
where you don't have to, because we've all been through therapy, and a lot of times they take the long way to get to the point,
Right.
just because of like clinical speak, like it's literally
Mhm.
their education.
Yeah.
Can't help yourself. And actually, what I like is when you eventually get to that point. What's funny is I just started with this therapist like when I got out of rehab,
Mhm.
but we already have like that shorthand because we have the same personality,
That's
like
awesome.
same
Yeah.
sense of humor.
Yeah.
So there's no
Makes a
like,
huge
oh
difference.
yeah, like there's no BS, and we actually laugh in there,
Yeah. That's so important
right?
because you're talking about heavy shit all the time. If you
Yeah.
can't have
But I
that.
mean, it's a healthy environment to be self-deprecating. But she'll call me out on just in case, like, don't beat yourself up.
Mhm.
And I think there's like a fine line for me. Well, maybe a fine line in people's understanding because like, yeah, of course I'm going to be my worst critic. I mean,
Well,
that's
yeah,
just
that's
that's
just
like
human
that's an
nature.
innate
Yeah.
thing. But, like, a lot of times I'll say it, but it's so brief, and it's not like I'm thinking about it right after it comes out of my mouth. But how does anyone else know?
Yeah.
Like, I'll literally be like, "Wow, what a moron," But it's because I did something stupid at that moment. I call myself out, and then I move on,
Mhm.
But I do know that some people may even say it's a joke and punish themselves.
Yeah.
Which I've been guilty of as well, but that's way more internal monologue.
Mhm.
If I
Yeah.
say it out loud, I'm kinda, like, acknowledging that I just did something
Yeah,
stupid.
you're adding humor to the
Right.
situation.
And that can go 2 ways. I feel like, you can either be deflecting when you use humor,
Yes.
which
Big one.
I generally don't do that unless
No.
I feel like the situation is awkward for them.
Mhm.
That's when I'll try to lighten it up.
I feel like that too, it's just such a part of your personality, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like you just do that. And it's not even like, it's almost just automatic,
Yeah.
like, you just add spice to the room because it's just who you are. Like,
Right.
it's just funny.
I just
Like, I
yeah.
don't seriously think that you think that you're a moron. Like, you're not a moron, you're just like
Right. I mean, I've made some moronic decisions,
yeah,
right, but I don't think it's my
your
entire
being,
being
your
is
essence.
moronic. Yeah. God, you know what, man? I'm not gonna lie. I sound happy on here, but I
Yeah.
fucking suck.
Jason is a
I
moron.
suck. I'm very dumb. Um, I don't even know I'm doing a podcast. Shelby has to remind me
Yeah.
while we're in my studio. Speaking of which,
Speaking of which,
sidebar, you probably won't notice sound-wise. Actually, if you do, good for you, and
yeah.
if not, maybe you're not using headphones because that would be the only way you could tell. But, I've covered my walls in acoustic foam.
Just go out there and say it.
Yeah,
Looks like he's got like 100 egg cartons on his walls.
right, except they're cool looking. They're not like, they don't say grade A large eggs on them,
Yeah, I mean, that would be worth a lot of money
but
right
they
now.
are made from recycled egg cartons. Because all the stuff I buy, if there is an option generally, I will buy the one that's more sustainable.
This would be great for stimming, you know? You just feel like,
Well, I mean, it's this.
yeah,
It's the same
nice. It's
material.
foamy, pointy, it's
Except
nice.
this is I would assume that these windscreens are not made from egg cartons.
You never know.
But yeah,
Never know. In this
I mean,
economy.
these are like, if I'm buying a $4 item, generally, like if it's not sustainable, I'm not, crying for nature.
Mhm.
But when it comes to like this kind of stuff, it just makes sense to me. And
Yeah.
to be honest with you, it's better quality.
Yeah. No. So yeah, we walked in here. Yeah, the sound is very different, and it's fitting that you have padded walls.
Yes. Just in case, let's say my insurance lapses or something like that, and I'm unable to afford institutionalization. Is that a word?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is today.
It is, man, and that was a lot of syllables. Like, I need a drink of water real quick. Um, I've padded my own walls so I can just have a homestay.
Yeah. Since we're talking about care teams today, Jason has created his own asylum.
Yes. I'm guessing they still have padded rooms.
Yes,
I've
that
not seen one.
I haven't either.
With all of the places I've been, I've never seen a padded room it's got to be more of a self-harm situation, I guess.
Yeah,
But
not to make light of something very serious.
no,
but
that's totally serious. And to be honest with you, I don't think those padded rooms are acoustically sound.
no, I doubt it. They're like those gym mats. You know,
Yeah,
the gym
right?
you roll out.
This is there are no gym mats on my walls,
No,
folks.
these are nice.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Anyways.
yes. I will just continue to do nerdy things that I'll probably not bring up most of them, but this is significant
It's significant.
because when you walk in, it's like all of a sudden any echo that exists is just sucked into the
Yeah,
foam. It's
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, he was geeking out.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like for us, we have obviously a psychiatrist who does the medication management and a psychologist, therapist, whatever they refer to themselves as, who works with the mental part, the non-medication related stuff. And it's such a important relationship. And especially early on, I'd feel like the frequency of conversations from a monitoring standpoint for the meds and from checking in with your therapist to make sure that you're not spinning out, as you're gradually starting to have more of a grasp over your emotions and your thoughts and stuff, just helps a lot. But that being said, we have good people that we've been working with. Shelby's been working with hers, at least the therapist part. I don't know. I don't know about the psychiatrist, but that's different. That's not as important.
Yeah, not
you
as important,
can
but
find a drug pusher anywhere, especially in Colorado.
Yeah,
but,
you know?
but not the stuff that
not
you
the
need.
stuff that I do.
How'd you pick this state, you pothead?
I don't do drugs.
Pothead moving to Colorado. Perfect. That'd be like me moving to Tennessee, like
God
next
damn
to a
you.
whiskey plant.
Yeah.
Go hang out next to Jack Daniels. All right. So, but she's moving and you can't bring your care team with you.
I wish I could. Oh my God.
Your therapist, not Shelby specific, but generally anyone who gives you that level of care has to be certified in the state where you reside. And so she's going to have a little challenge. And so we wanted to talk about how good a good care team can be and how stressful as hell it can be to find new ones.
Yeah, and even when you're just starting out too, it really is kind of like dating.
Yeah.
Like truly. You gotta jive with somebody.
And you don't want to usually. Like,
No.
you don't want one. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, do I need therapy?
Right.
Kind of stuff. And you're like auditioning people that you don't really even want.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like their job is dependent on what you share. So it's like you have to be willing to share.
Right.
And if you're I remember when I lived in the city and, I found a good one and then she stopped taking my insurance and I just remember going to a couple of them and was just like, this is not, I don't want to be here.
Oh.
And so I wasn't.
And it turns you off too.
Yeah.
Like it turns you off to the whole field.
Yeah.
Like you get disenchanted because,
right.
You know what? I don't know, man. I've met with 3 people. We're not vibing.
Mhm.
Maybe this just isn't for
Yeah.
me. I feel like it's like the same as like AA or anything else. Like you have exposure to a couple.
Yeah.
You're looking for a reason to not have to do it.
Right.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't feel welcome here, or that was a bad meeting, or
Right.
like these therapists literally sit there and I talk to myself for an hour, or they talk so much, I feel like I'm their therapist. Like whatever,
Yeah. Or you like go into therapy or in it for an extended period of time and you're like, well, I feel great. I don't need therapy anymore. Wrong. Don't
Same thing
stop.
with meds.
Yes. It's like, no.
Same thing with meds.
Stay.
No, I'm good now. No, you're good because the meds are working.
Yes.
They don't just stay in
It
you.
took me so long to realize that.
Yeah.
So long to realize that.
Lifelong stuff.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to take a pill. I don't really notice any
Yeah,
side
for sure.
effects. I feel good. Like I don't have to think about it. Like why not?
Yeah. Why
Therapy's
not?
more, there's more legwork
Yes.
on both sides. Obviously.
Yes. So yeah, I have been in the process Well, I had my last session with my psychiatrist, which this psychiatrist I've been with her almost 2 years, but, like, you meet with a psychiatrist less. It's really just to, like, check in every couple months, 3 months.
Which is odd, but yeah, it's almost like maintenance.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, she would give me a 3-month prescription, and then we meet before that renewed, is how's everything
Yeah.
going kind of thing. But we did talk, like, an hour session, and it would basically just be, like, talking about, eating disorder stuff, addiction stuff. Yeah, she knew what questions to ask just to see, like, where I was at, and meds can help with that kind of stuff
Mhm.
too. So it's kinda just repeating things in therapy, but, like, also she would talk to my therapist
Yeah.
every quarter to, like, catch up on things
Were they
and
in the
touch
same
base.
practice?
No.
Okay.
No, but I got my psychiatrist from my therapist.
As
Like,
a
she
referral?
recommended.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
okay.
they work closely. So that if you're starting with therapy or starting with a psychiatrist, it's like, once you find somebody you know, jive with, ask them for a recommendation because it's just a good way to get people who do unified care.
Right.
Because that's where, like, the therapist I've been with now, who I love her. Like, we hug every day we see each other.
Oh, I was like,
N
we don't have therapy every day. I just show
No,
up at her
when
office
we
for a
see
hug.
yeah, I just show up. One time I showed up when their office was closed because I thought my appointment was a different day, and I just stood there and I messaged her and I was like, "I'm standing outside your door."
She's like, "Do we need to have a
She's
talk?
like,
Do we have a"
"Yeah."
like, my
Like,
hot well,
"This
no,
is
no.
weird."
Her response is, "Which door?"
Yeah,
You're at
my
home.
home.
You're at her home.
Yeah. But no, so I've been with her, for over 4 years now. And I've been with probably 5 or 6 therapists over my life, and she has single-handedly changed my life. She I owe so much to her, and I'm so grateful for her. I know I mentioned this when we talked kind of about our stories, but, like, she was the one who recommended program to me,
Right.
like, years before I went, and I was like, "Okay, I'll keep that in mind." And then she was never, like, pushy, like, "I think you have a problem," kinda thing. She was always just, like, gently putting it out there, like, not every session, but, every few months, we'd, "Have you thought about this?" Or even just mentioning, like, I've worked with, multiple patients that have gone through this program, and, like, very gentle ways of, like, putting it in my
That's
consciousness.
the way to do it.
Yes. I mean, it was so smart,
'Cause
and she might be listening to this, so I
it's
just
inf
wanna give
no,
you
but, I
kudos.
mean, it's informative, it's educational, but it's putting the ball in your court.
Yes.
Because the last thing that any of us want from anyone, family, care team,
Yep.
friends,
Yep.
person you're in a relationship, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend,
Mhm.
whatever. You know what? You really need to go get help. You need to do this. You need to do this. You
Yeah.
need to go get help. You need to go get help.
That
Like,
doesn't work.
fuck off.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't, sure, maybe you're right, but get off my back. Like, this
Mhm.
needs to be my decision.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the steroid version of the person who asks if you're okay and you say you're fine and they keep asking to the point where they make you not okay because you
Yeah.
get pissed that they keep
Mhm.
asking.
Mhm.
It's like a
Yeah.
higher level of that, but basically saying, yeah, I think you need to go to rehab.
Oh, do you?
It's like, oh,
Do you?
okay, well,
Okay. Well,
thank you.
you
But
go to rehab.
yeah, you need to go to rehab to get away from you.
Yeah.
No, but
Um,
it is a thing. Like, and I think that's what smart therapists, counselors do. You know what? It's not even that. It's a life thing. Like a perfect example is when I was in sales or when I worked in marketing actually especially because you work in marketing, the amount of effort you have to put into explaining why you want to do something versus actually being
mhm,
able to execute it
mhm.
is exhausting.
Yeah.
So I would do what I would call like the 3/4 sell or like the 75% plan, where I would figure out everything that I wanted to do. I knew why I was ready to roll, but I would 75% explain it to let them take it to the finish line so they feel involved in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly.
that I feel
That's
like that perfectly
yeah,
applies
totally.
here.
Totally. Because it was just like really giving a safe space to like think about that kind of stuff and also like destigmatized it.
Mhm.
Because I had this like idea in my head that like I don't need a program or, just thinking like the imposter syndrome, like of this isn't going to help me because I'm not that far along, just the
Right.
things you tell yourself. But yeah, it stuck obviously, and here we are. So yeah, moving, we started talking about the transition plan last week, and just what that process is going to look like. And I don't think it's fully hit me yet, but it's starting to bring up some stuff of just, the grief of losing her as my primary therapist and that safety net I've built with her, knowing that
Yeah.
like every week I get to go to her, but also, knowing that all the things we've done together, like I can handle this. Like she has fully given me the tools and I'm not giving her all the credit. I've had to do the work and, I'm in the position I'm in because I put myself here.
Right.
But
But it's like an ally.
yeah, I mean, and she's 30 years sober too, and that wasn't even
I know
like
you
a
mentioned
reason
that, yeah.
why I
That's
I
so
went
good.
to her,
So
but
cool.
yeah, and even, I did EMDR therapy with a different therapist that, she used to have a practice with, but went out on her own to do EMDR. And so, and recommended the psychiatrist, so like my entire care team was from her. And I've never experienced care on a level that wide. Especially, you have therapists in program that are separate, the
Mhm.
family therapist, the primary therapist, you have a psychiatrist in there. But again, all of them revolved around talking with her. So it was like she was just so involved in this process. So there's a lot of grief, fear. I kind of started to research some therapists out there that are in my network, which, you know, when you have an Illinois insurance and you're moving to Colorado, it's difficult, but they're there, but it's just more of a tight knit circle of people. So yeah, our plan is for me to pick out 3 that are, in network and that, reading their bios and all of that, and bring them in to review with her and then schedule some consultations. And then her and she's going to talk to whichever one I decide to book some sessions with. So I don't have to like go in there and explain my entire life story. She'll give them the, overview of the last 4 years and take it from there. But yeah, it's just
And they wanna do their own, like,
totally.
initial stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that's the exhausting part.
Yeah.
Especially if you kinda know in a first sit down.
Yes. I will know
If it's
on the
someone
phone
I would
call.
even entertain going back to, not saying, like, "This is my person," but, like, you get a good sense of it, and I don't know, it just sucks if it doesn't work, and then you almost resent the fact that you have to keep re-explaining everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
You
what
know,
I'm.
it's tiresome, man.
And
I don't
I
like
think
that.
there's just some fear in there of, I mean, I guess it's a good fear because, I mean, we're talking like we have the last 7 episodes, like bringing up old stuff. Like, yeah, I guess I'm just nervous of what that's going to bring up for me. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable that I'll be able to handle it, but yeah, there's just that natural fear, that grief. Yeah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to put in
Uh,
the effort to find somebody else,
I don't blame you.
but I know, especially with a move like it needs to be a priority because I feel really good. I'm doing really well right now, but at this stage of doing really well, I don't have the like, okay, well maybe I don't need, like that little thought that maybe I don't need
No, no,
it.
it's pretty easy for the floor to fall out too,
Yeah, and I know
It's
that.
not
I'm
like
like,
we're walking around super delicate,
no.
but
The reality is anything can happen.
it's a heavy life change.
Yes. And I'm not naive, I know what is possible. I know my brain can do a lot of different things. So I'm just trying to keep looking forward
Right.
and
And I swear to God, you know what? What could possibly make a situation like that worse? Moving,
yeah, hi.
right? It's,
Life is like, Shelby.
yeah. Like I would say to my buddies, it's like a dick punch.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're a year fully sober? Here's a move to the biggest weed state
Wait,
in the
no,
United
but
States.
here's a move. And oh, by the way, if you weren't thinking of this, you're going to need to find a new therapist.
Yep.
Hey, at least you don't have to find a new job
Yes.
because that's a nightmare.
Excuse me. Yes.
Finding a place to live, nightmare.
We did
Job,
that. Check that.
nightmare.
Both of us. Yeah. Both of us did not have to find new jobs. So that's a huge,
That literally is a game changer right there.
Yeah. I don't know if we would have been able to do it or like,
Well, I feel like you would have planned the move around having found jobs.
yeah.
Unless you were totally like, man, F it, let's get in
go.
let's get in the van.
Get in the van.
Good with wanderlust life.
yeah.
Let's go. I don't know why it sounds like a prototypical surfer in a movie, but
it's fantastic.
that's the voice that I went
I'm
with.
here for it. Yeah. So that's kind of my thing right now with care teams. Kind of my adjustment. What do you have to add about care teams and their importance?
I mean, I completely agree. As you've been talking, I've been interrupting you and agreeing, but
I love it. That's what this podcast is.
No,
Jason interrupting me.
Everybody who listens, it's like, will you shut up? Sorry.
We love you for it.
Thanks. Yeah, apparently I bring what did you say I bring? A spice.
You bring a spice to life, Jason.
Yeah, my spice is interrupting you. Yeah, no, I mean, and I've been through it. And not okay, so it hasn't yes, I've been through it during moves. But generally the abrupt changing is insurance crap.
Yes. Fuck insurance.
Right.
We were talking before we started recording universal healthcare literally everywhere else. Wouldn't that be nice? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Just not even having to worry about insurance at all. You just pick a random person that you like. It's like I find somebody that I kind of like and like, oh, they're out of network.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I'm, with the field that I'm going into, and I'm not blind to it anyway, but having been involved in mental health
Mm-hmm.
treatment in one way or another for 3 decades, not everybody accepts certain insurance, and then
Not everybody has insurance.
and generally, yeah, of course I have compassion and empathy, but I'm not walking around on a daily basis sad about people's inability to get treatment. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, but now I'm thrust into that.
It's going to hit pretty close to home.
Yeah, but I'm just seeing like what people are doing for that to offer options for people. And that's something we can get into because I think I brought that up
Yeah.
to you. Yeah, I did.
You
Wait,
did.
Did we talk about it?
We did.
We did.
We did.
Yeah. See,
It's
it feels
amazing.
I don't know why it feels like
refer to previous episode. It's because we did one virtually. We're doing a twofer,
And
right?
I think I'm like, I don't know what our text
What day is it?
conversations are. And yeah, they're like blending into
What's text? What's podcast? What's in person? I don't remember.
Yeah.
We're just talking all the time.
Yeah, we talk a lot. No, but so it's tedious and it's hard. But the reward is, I don't know, it kind of restores faith
Yeah.
when you do find a new one.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, all right. I don't think any of us are, oh God, I'm never going to find another one. I mean, that's just not the
No,
vibe. That's
no.
not the attitude to have, obviously. But like, it is hard to overcome that fear.
Yeah. And generally, people that go into the mental health field aren't dicks. So you have to have a level of empathy and, want to help people. So, like, yeah, there might be some that have personalities that you don't mesh
Right.
with well, but the intention is usually very, very pure.
I've gotten really good too at seeing people who, depending on what their specialty is. So obviously I'm going into peer-to-peer roles, so I'll be able to share more and
Yeah.
about my recovery. But if I'm around someone who's a therapist, like or a CADC or an LCPC, I can pick up on if they're in recovery or not.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But it's not even.
We did that to the group therapists in our program. We were
Yeah.
like, they totally
Yeah.
are in recovery.
Not many.
But
What did we say? 1? Maybe 2?
Yeah, there were 2.
2. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, it's just almost like my brain, like I'm not calling them out on it or anything like that, but
You're in recovery.
I'll just hear a way they phrase something or where they come at it from. I'm like, oh shit.
But
that person's in recovery.
One of the GTs was like, hypothetically speaking, I may be speaking from experience. It's like, just say it, bro.
Right. You know what I'm also finding too, a lot of people, if they're not necessarily in recovery from a substance, I'm finding just through doing this, like the school portion, that all substance abuse, aside from the genetic component, is trauma-based. And people don't understand how to, I think we've even brought this up, like, how do you define it? Like the amount of times I've been asked in therapy or as in an intake or whatever, have you been through any traumas? Like my answer has been no, because my definition, the way I was raised, is understanding it as like some crazy,
catastrophic,
huge, catastrophic event.
It ain't.
Like a car accident or, losing a parent early or losing a sibling, like those things where you're like losing a child.
Yeah.
That's how I viewed it. So I wasn't hiding it. I literally believed it. I was like, I don't know. Like, what's your Then finally I started to ask because I'm like, all right, I get asked this a lot and I get a look when I say no. That's like either you're full of shit or maybe you don't understand trauma.
Yeah.
That was the case. So I've been like, can you please define it to me? And then that one time we got to it, it was like so crazy and weird. It was like, oh, so you were 8 years old and you were an only child for 8 years. And then not only did your parents have one kid, they had twins. You don't think that's a trauma? And I'm like, now I do.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks
No,
a lot.
But, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Like, so you could go to your damn grave and not realize that you've experienced multiple traumas that most people might not consider that, but that doesn't matter what they consider.
Right.
It matters how it altered your path from that moment.
And shaping the way that you view yourself in the world.
Right.
So everyone's homework is to look up CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Those are what they call the little T traumas. Big T traumas is like the PTSD, like sexual assault, the big abuse,
that's
bigger.
That's the stuff I viewed it as. Like because I think my answer would always be like, I never had any kind of abuse, like physical or mental. Like, I said I had a little bit of like bullying, but as soon as I started playing sports, like that all stopped. And
yeah, if your parents have gone through divorce, that is complex.
That's what I considered.
Yes.
That was like on the list.
Yes. So I actually in program, I did some of the sessions.
I remember.
The trauma sessions. Yes. And one of them was on the difference between the two, which was really, really
I would have
helpful.
really actually been interested in that one.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a ton.
When you guys would disappear, and I'm like, where the hell?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're like, we were in trauma group, and I swear to God, even then, I'm like,
yeah, what?
Oh, what happened to these guys?
Yeah. Right.
I know. I feel like such a goob now, but like it's a real thing. You don't know.
Right.
You just
and obviously that's done like in your intake and like your talks with your therapist, each day. But yeah, like there were people in there for big T trauma too. So it was a very interesting group to be in. But ultimately I decided like I don't want to be, because I think those were on Mondays. I don't remember, but it was I didn't want to be taken out of any of the MHSU, even though there wasn't that much.
Sorry.
But
We're on a podcast. I'm sorry you couldn't see my
yeah, he's
my eye rolling.
yeah, eye rolling.
We've talked about it plenty.
Yeah, we have
The SU was lacking.
very much so. But yeah, so that's your homework. Report back. Email us.
Yeah.
gratitudepowerhour@gmail.com.
Now, interestingly enough, we've been getting less emails than we had at the beginning, but I am getting in-person feedback.
Yes. Tell us about it.
Now, I can't tell you who we are. These just happen to be people who know me, who are aware that I am a part of a podcast.
Yes.
But, well, you just wanted me to tell everybody that apparently I suck at and you're, like, amazing.
What?
No.
Am I?
No,
Feed
every
my
yes,
ego.
yeah, every time someone mentions it, they're like, I really like they love Shelby. And I believe the last person who commented in person said, I can't believe she's moving like
It's
it
amazing.
was gonna end.
It's not gonna end. It's
and
not gonna end, guys.
But no, but I think the person wrapped up that feedback with, oh, by the way, the most recent episode, I actually like something you said.
They're busting your balls because they listen to you in meetings.
That was your best episode. I really like but I like something you said. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry that you've had to endure my nonsense for hours.
Hey, I endure your nonsense for hours.
Yeah, and you keep coming back, and apparently so do they. So
yeah.
Suck it.
Yeah, suck it. It's good. It's good nonsense.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, but the look though. Oh my God, Shelby's moving. I was like, you seem more upset than I am.
Yeah.
I'm pretty upset.
Guys, the podcast is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
The episode you listened to before this one was in our virtual little setting. It's all good. And I'll be back. So
yeah,
all good things.
Shelby asked if she should get acoustic foam.
Yeah.
You know what though? It makes me so. I mean, I feel like a proud father.
He's raised me well.
I feel like a proud podcast father.
Like, fuck. I want my sound to be like this, Jason.
I'm sure this is a thing, but I'm just thinking it and saying it. Podfather.
That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard. The Podfather. Come on, people gotta like that.
Well, I don't know.
You'll get feedback on that.
I can't be the Podfather, but I can be your Podfather.
My Podfather?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. Other people out there be like, I think we've been doing this longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your show sucks. No, you know what? The content is great, but the audio is hot garbage. Please email me at gratitudepower@gmail.com and I'll tell you which microphone to buy and how to not sound like crap.
Yeah.
Watch now, all of a sudden, when I play this back, I'm like, we sound like crap.
We sound like shit.
Oh my God.
It's
Karma.
the cord.
Karma.
It's the fucking cord.
Yeah, it is. As
Oh,
I have,
God.
like, just multiple cords all over the place. As I'm in one hand spinning my 6 month.
Yeah, everyone, officially, Jason has his 6-month chip. Round of applause. Hit the sound effect.
Wait, I don't remember where it is.
He's gonna hit the crickets.
I think it's this.
Oh, it's off. Yay, Jason! 6 months, half a year for you.
My Podfather card is revoked after playing a sound effect like we're a morning show.
Okay, yeah. Before we started this, we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, and Jason had mentioned something about some stuff he's dealt with for a long time that's kind of coming back. So why don't you dive into that, Jason, with your like chronic pain management and what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I think people are probably familiar with chronic pain. Not necessarily meaning you've had it, but just the verbiage. But it's not like, oh, I've kind of got an ankle that bothers me every now and again. It's better defined as it's just there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You just tolerate it.
It just becomes the norm. Like, do you notice it?
Yeah, like I know I'm feeling it
You're
right now.
You're feeling it right now,
yeah.
but like does that, like, is it a mind thing?
There are things that, well, no, I mean, it's when it comes to nerve pain.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do, right? Because generally nerve pain means it's being pinched in some capacity. right? So I had, and this was several years ago, so probably from like '06 to like 2016, I had really bad lower back pain that, it started out as, I think it's like, it's basically like just irritated. And then like eventually over time, like you get a bulging disc and then you get herniation, which is
Mhm.
worse. And then it's, kind of like deteriorating to a point where if you were to look at it on like a MRI, like a normal spine on an MRI is white. If you have herniation or like deterioration or whatever, like some of the areas start to turn black. And that means that there's no fluid there because the compression,
Oh.
gravity, like whatever. I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah.
literally aging, your body, its gravity takes its toll enough that it starts to compress. So that's why people get shorter. And I'm dead
No,
serious about this.
that checks.
Uh, so at the time in like '06 and even leading up to 2000, probably 15, there weren't a lot of options to fix what was going on. So it was doing like pain management, which also was just ineffective because it's nerve pain. Like
Mhm.
if it's bone stuff, like, I mean, I'm not saying arthritis is bad, but you can take things for it
Yeah.
that target it.
Mhm.
Nerve pain, there's kind of the only things that exist for it are things like pretty much like every mental health drug. They were designed for a specific purpose and they work for that.
Yeah.
Like gabapentin, for example, is a nerve management
Mhm.
medication, but it was designed for seizures, and then it works for other
Yeah.
stuff. Like people take it for anxiety, you
Mhm.
know. So, but I didn't even. No one ever recommended that, so I was just living with it. Like, because I was taking, Advil, Tylenol, whatever. It didn't do anything, so I'm like, "Pff, okay, So what was the next option? Drinking.
Drinking.
And again, like any other kind of, if you're like addicted to opiates, you're not taking opiates because you have pain relief. You're taking them because you almost forget you have pain because you're
Mhm.
so out of it.
Yep.
Takes you away from it, so to speak. So, we're talking about, and obviously I was drinking anyway, but like when it would get really bad, like I would just drink to the point of like blacking out because it hurt so much.
Mhm.
And kind of like, we did an entire episode on filling the void, I mean, finally in 2016, spinal fusion had a success rate that was like in the 80s, where like in '06 it was in the 20s.
Yeah,
So we're
that's
talking about
scary.
them going in and pulling out a piece of your spine and putting in a titanium cage with a 20% success rate.
Yep.
No
No.
thanks.
No, I'm
So
good.
I'm doing chiropractor, nerve
Mhm.
stim, nerve
Physical
blocks, physical
therapy,
therapy,
yeah.
uh, tai chi, like whatever,
Mhm.
but I was drinking the whole time, like to self-medicate. Like
Mhm.
I mean, it got bad, like some to the point where like I would just drink because I was in so much pain,
Mhm.
not even like,
Again, there's that common
right,
theme
right,
of drinking to not feel anything.
right. And then sleeping wasn't as much of an issue, but as you can imagine, if you're
Mhm.
like in pain when you're just laying down, you're not falling asleep easily.
Yeah.
Or if you roll over, it hurts so bad, like because it's pinching, it wakes you up.
And even when you're sleeping when you're drinking, you're not getting sleep.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Not a lot of REM happening.
no.
But so anyway, I mean, but once I had that surgery, I woke up and I was like, holy, I can't believe it's finally gone. Like it was literally
Amazing.
like, because
Modern medicine.
yeah, like it was noticeable instantly. It could have
Mhm.
gone another way.
Right, right, that 20%.
Right.
Whew.
But I had that void and I never filled it. Like I never filled, because I was married at the time. I was in a relationship and pain had become such a big part of my life.
Mhm.
It was like a part of my identity. Like how's your hey man, how's your back? Like it's
Yeah.
really bothering you? Like it was a part of conversation. It was what people thought of when they thought of me was my back pain,
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Sounds very familiar.
Right. So, that goes away. Still hurts a little bit. Actually, it's still, I mean, we're almost 10 years from the surgery. And, when it bothers me, it's more like I've done something, like I've moved something heavy or,
Yeah.
you know, that would make anyone's back hurt.
Totally.
It's not the same kind of stuff. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like, I mean, I was so used to it, and then I removed it. I never filled it, I never did.
Mhm.
And I'm not even gonna say drinking filled it because that was its
It was
own
yeah.
thing, right? So instead of just fully embracing that I felt better physically, I don't know, kept doing literally the same things I was doing,
Mhm.
but wasn't in physical pain.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2025, and this has been going on this is definitely over. I mean, we've got to be approaching 2 years at this point, and I have I have a very high threshold for pain. Unfortunately, I guess, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. But like, I'm able to kind of I'm not even like white knuckling. I just
Mhm.
do what I have
Right.
to do regardless
Probably
of what
because
it
you're
feels like.
trained to just
Yeah.
that 10 years of being in constant pain.
And still having to do stuff. It's
Yeah.
not like I was like out
Right.
of work, like sitting at home.
Right.
Had to work.
Yeah.
And what made it so bad was sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
Bad posture at a desk for
Mhm.
20 years.
Mhm.
So but I'm having thankfully not the exact kind of pain, but I think we're headed in that direction in my neck from, looking down at a laptop
Mhm.
basically,
Yeah.
which I've changed it now, but it's like kind of too late, I mean, like my monitors are literally like I don't have to look down, I'm
Yeah,
not looking
yeah.
up, they're like right at eye level.
I mean, anything helps,
Yeah.
It's not gonna make it worse.
No, I mean, but
Right.
this is not what I used to do, especially when you're using your laptop. You're not
Right. You're
holding it like
hunched
in front of
over.
your face.
Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
it.
Right. That's why the standing desk makes sense now.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, like it's gotten to the point where, I was definitely drinking because it was starting to hurt again. And that was like the pattern. And yes, it never fixed it, but I would maybe forget about it maybe for a little while until I passed out, not fell
Mhm.
asleep. I haven't drank in 6 months. Pain's still here. It's actually getting pretty bad now.
Yeah.
But I have not once had an urge to do anything.
To drink it away
No,
or
or find pain meds or something
mhm.
because my personal experience with pain meds, they don't help me with my pain. I feel like a complete idiot and
Mhm.
I can't poop.
Yeah. You gotta be able
It's
to
a
poop.
hard pass.
Hard literally. I see what you did there. Constipation joke.
Oh my lordy lordy. Yes, folks, you are welcome for that clever poop reference.
Is that our first poop joke on the show? I think so.
Possibility. Now
Mark it in history.
now we've said the word poop more than
Poop.
in 7 episodes. I don't have
Yeah.
I should have
fart,
like
fart sound.
no. Yeah, that
That would be
then it would be
really
then I'm gonna
cute.
then I'm gonna change my voice to the wacky welcome to Gratitude Power Hour. Oh, so glad you stopped by. Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway,
Anyway,
to
so
lighten the mood there. No, but I haven't had that urge, that instinct.
that's amazing for one.
Yeah, I mean it sucks. It freaking hurts. But like tomorrow I'm going to get a cervical injection, which I didn't realize this. They realized that you can like do a series of them. Like you can go and if it still hurts, you can come in and get another one, but you can only do so many. And I'm like, what? I was like, that doesn't even sound like a good idea. Though.
Yeah.
But the last one I did was in May, and they're like, well, you've made it like this long. That's great.
Well, it
And I
sounds like
said,
maybe you haven't made it.
right.
You're just kind of
When it really started to bother me, was in rehab.
sleeping on those
The
beds.
beds,
Yeah.
but also like, you know what? It bothered me a lot in program too.
Oh yeah.
When you have to look down at the
Yeah.
handouts.
Yep.
Just the staring down thing bothers
tray
me.
tables.
It hurts really bad. Yeah.
Fucking tray tables.
Everybody who runs a program anywhere,
Listen to us.
invest in tray tables. Do not make people write on their lap. Please.
We pay you a lot of money to go in these things. We know you can afford buying 2 sets rather than 1.
They are so cheap.
They are. We'll send them.
At a minimum, tray tables. What makes the most sense because I've seen the amount of space. I mean, I've been a part of 4 programs. Plenty of space. Get a damn table.
Yeah, how about that? How about that?
Get a table. So, because you give a person this giant binder that you could use as a weapon,
Literally.
and people are drinking water. They need more than the tray table that'll fall over if you sneeze in front of them.
Yeah.
And then
Do you remember?
you can't
do you
write.
remember when you made a
Oh, yeah. I remember.
what was it, 2 or 3 tray tables? He just made this weird sculpture of tray tables in protest. It was really funny. You had to be there, but
Well, no, remember I did it, and then someone else thought it was funny and brought theirs over and put it on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. No, just because it was completely dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And I was so tired of holding the binder.
Mhm.
So I just built.
I got there early specifically so I could get a table.
Oh, and then when I couldn't get there early, I was already stressed before I even got out of my own car.
Because you knew I'm not going to get a fucking table
tray
today.
Table. Yep.
And our
So damn.
program group chat that we started during it, the group chat photo is of a tray table.
Right. And you know what? We did bring this up on it. I wonder if it was episode 1 or 2. I can't remember, but it might have been 1 when we were explaining checking in.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we did it a few episodes. We haven't done it in a while.
No, but I mean, when we explained actually more recently, you brought up the emotion wheel.
Uh-huh.
Just because yes, it was recently. It might have been one of the last couple.
Yeah.
The sexy where I was and then the
your
guy
sexy
stole
story.
my
Yes,
sexy.
we did tell that.
Right. But so the name of the very first text chain was Tired But Sexy because I don't think people understand. Yes, we've already said you can be 2 things at once, or you can think 2 things can exist at once. But people would come in and use the most negative emotion, use the word but, and then say happy. So it'd be miserable, but optimistic. I couldn't even hide. Usually I can
I feel betrayed.
Usually I have a good game face, but I would
curious.
just turn and look directly at them just to see if we could get eye contact. So I could be makes no sense. Yeah. It's
We understand the dialectical, but
it's I'm tired, but happy. What?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Okay. So
Anyways.
I think hopefully tomorrow I'll get some relief, but
yes, keep me posted on how that goes.
I haven't brought up chronic pain at meetings.
Maybe you should bring that up.
No, I
this
will.
week.
I will.
Yeah. Are you going to a morning meeting or a night meeting tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
You have class tomorrow.
I might have to do a virtual meeting tomorrow just because I get the injection and
it might.
It hurts like hell. I know it sounds stupid. It sounds so dumb. You're getting a pain management injection, but it hurts like hell.
It hurts.
It actually really does hurt like hell.
I can't imagine.
Because, they're trying to make your nerve stop hurting, which means they have to go into it.
Yum.
Yeah.
Fun.
But yeah.
Super fun.
So, no, but I mean, I think people, hopefully you can relate if if you've got a story like that, email us, gratitudepowerhour@gmail.com. Because, it's a real thing and it had such a presence in my life. And then I never filled that void while simultaneously alcohol having such a presence in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Got rid of that. I'm doing my best to fill that void. I almost feel I'm not overwhelmed, but I'm am I taking on too many things? So if I'm saying that out loud, I might need to
cup runneth
level
over
off
of recovery.
Level off a little bit, but in a good way. I feel
very,
I'm
very good way.
handling everything in stride. I just might not need to take anything else.
Yeah.
Especially dealing with the pain stuff.
Yeah.
Because
let's get that figured out before.
I'm not at my best. I'm not at my best when it hurts.
Yeah.
I'm crabby.
Yeah.
I'm more irritable, and it has nothing to do with what's going on.
No, you're just in fucking pain.
I'm just a lot of times you can't hide it.
Yeah.
I think people can probably, if they're paying attention, can see me wince.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, my arm is killing me because
you've been rubbing it quite a bit.
It hurts like hell.
Yep. You need to lay down.
No, that doesn't help.
That doesn't help.
No, nothing helps. So instead,
maybe just the padded walls. Maybe we could just.
I'm gonna figure out how to do some kind of unique therapy with my recycled
Yeah.
egg carton walls.
Hope you like the sound today. Thank Jason.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it sounds. Well, that's about time. We weren't as all over the place as the
No,
episode before.
Not at all.
But
This was great.
I think
I
maybe
feel good about it.
everybody who listens enjoys the tangents because that's the gift that is not planning too much.
Yes.
As someone who's done several podcasts, that's not a flex, it's just a fact.
And a sleep.
And I listen to a lot of them. There's such a thing as under planning, and there's such a thing as over planning. The feedback that I've received about our show specifically is it doesn't even sound like you guys are aware that there's like microphones.
Word.
And I said, that's the point.
Yeah.
When we were talking about doing this, that's the rule. Like it was literally, our goal is it helps us.
Which, yeah, I mean,
Right. Helps
Every week.
us, not forced, not scripted. And if it helps one other person,
great.
it's a bonus.
Yes.
It's what makes it a success for us is that it helps us.
Yes.
Um,
Amen.
But it is nice to receive feedback for people who not only listen once, but
Yeah.
are like,
Multiple
when
times.
before we set a better frequency, when's the next episode coming out? Like, I'm like, you caught up,
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody, for listening and for
Thank you.
supporting. Tell your friends, tell your family.
Leave us a review.
One thing that I never really thought of until this moment, just because I've had some of these conversations this week or last week in school and this week at the Friday night meeting I went to, is tell your support system or people that are trying to help understand your recovery. I'm not saying that this is necessarily an alternative to like an Al-Anon, but I think it could be helpful for them to listen to our respective as people who are navigating early recovery. And we own up to everything too, you know what I
Totally.
mean?
No
So
shame.
this isn't like an excuse
A little
show.
bit of
It's
shame.
well, yeah, but that's
We're working through
I
that.
feel like we would have other problems if there wasn't guilt and shame.
Yeah.
I think what is that called? Like a sociopath?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't feel like either of us fit that criteria.
Bring out the DSM-5.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't even think
I'll be
I'm
the
like
judge.
a narcissist. I don't know.
No.
I'm spicy.
You're
apparently.
spicy. Jason's spicy. That's the technical definition.
I have to keep fighting the urge for naming episodes. Like I did do the Barb one, but put like the point of the episode in it. But like I want to name this episode Spicy Podfather, but
yeah.
Right, but then
That is the name.
if
I don't care.
if I were looking for this and I'm like, oh, that one's about recovery fatigue. What the hell is a spicy Podfather? Yeah, like that feels like a departure from themes.
Could be in the description of the episode.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Understanding spicy Podfathers.
Yes. Spicy Podfather.
I am your pod. Okay.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Find us on the X Twitter machine at Gratitude Power HR. Email us at gratitudepowerhour@gmail.com. Find us anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. Like, subscribe, comment, give us a 5-star review.
Share with a friend.
Or a 1-star review and tell us why, because the only way we can get better is someone telling us. And my final parting thought as we turn off the microphones is thanking our international audience.
Thank you, Norway.
Okay, people, this is not a joke. We can see where people are listening. Now, my first thought when I was seeing this I'm like, this is a bot.
Somebody's got a VPN somewhere else.
However, the bot likes us then because they're coming back.
Yeah.
So apparently 7 people in Spain, or at least someone at the same location in Spain, has listened to seven
episodes.
7 episodes, correct.
Let's go. We see you, Spain.
We've got, clearly the United States, that tracks.
That tracks.
Spain, Taiwan, United Kingdom, and brand new to our listeners, Norway.
Let's ride.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, this international podcast.
Thank you, Spain, Taiwan, United Kingdom, Norway, and America. All right. We will talk to you guys next time.
We will see you next Tuesday.
Oh, dear. We're back to that again.
Bye.